हम एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण योजना देशवासियों के लिए लागू करने जा रहे हैं। आयुष्मान भारत। इस आयुष्मान भारत के तहत इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के साथ मिलकर के बीमा योजना की व्यवस्था करके गरीब से गरीब परिवार भी अगर उसके यहां कोई बीमार हो जाए तो एक व्यक्ति बीमार नहीं होता, पूरा परिवार बीमार हो जाता है, आर्थिक स्थिति तबाह हो जाती है, परिवार के सारे सपने, सारी योजनाएं तितर बितर हो जाती हैं। क्या मेरे देश के नागरिकों का ये हाल होगा? 50 करोड़ नागरिक अगर उनके परिवार में कोई बीमारी आई तो आयुष्मान भारत योजना के तहत 5 लाख रुपए तक का अस्पताल का खर्चा भारत सरकार और इंश्योरेंस कंपनी मिलकर के देगी।
We're giving Americans the ability to join together to purchase much better and more affordable health care and health insurance, including bidding across state lines. So all of the insurance companies are going wild. They want to get it. You're going to have great health care at a much lower price. It will cost the United States nothing. Nothing. Think of that. It will cost us nothing.
The central priority for India has to be the creation of jobs. We speak about GDP growth, but we do not speak about how many jobs are being created. Is developing a strategy for healthcare where India can take care of its healthcare needs and become a global hub for healthcare.
This is a jumla. This is a jumla. The point is, the scheme has been so designed that unless there is a hospital which has that treatment within 30, 40, 50 kilometers, how is anyone going to go to the hospital? He is simply going to stay in his village and suffer.
Where with the pharmaceutical companies are going to get money? We need consolidation, we need globalization. We are in a globalized world, we are in a different world. We need to explore the newer horizons on the market. So 100% of FDI should have been done without any constraint.
Hello and welcome. Enter the pharma leaders' world of research and welcome to the iconic and historic 11th Annual Pharmaceutical Leadership Summit and Pharma Leaders Business Leadership Awards 2018. And yes, we are discussing Brand India. Known for championing the cause for healthcare innovations and raising serious discussions to pave way for a better healthcare by bringing together the finest brains of the healthcare industry under one roof, Pharma Leaders today is India's most credible and prestigious title and a senior leader in healthcare communications. Backed by more than decades of experience while working with the stalwarts of the industry, Pharma Leaders has always preferred uniqueness of the subject that appeal to the nation and are first of its kind in contents due to our in-depth expertise, research and Pharma Leaders' reputation over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, Pharma Leaders believes that healthcare access includes affordability, availability as well as quality. It means that people, irrespective of their economic status or geographical location in the country, are able to easily afford healthcare services that are effective. If access was no longer the primary issue, then 50.6 million people in India would not have been pushed below the poverty line due to out-of-pocket spending on healthcare between 2004 and 2014. But India remains among the lowest spenders on health. Our spending on public health is just around 1.3% of our GDP, much below the global average of 6%. Even the WHO recommends public health spending of at least 5% of GDP. And pharma leaders believes that India's public health system is in shambles and the private services, while being unaffordable, are riddled with profiteering malpractices, from overcharging to unnecessary procedures imposed upon people to general apathy that has cost lives. Healthcare worldwide has been a big concern and presently undergoing a massive transformation. India too has launched series of reforms. Pharma leaders believes that healthcare in India is in a shamble, and that is perhaps the first scheme that seeks unified involvement of the government, policy makers, private players and stakeholders. Now that India's biggest health insurance cover, the Ayushman Bharat National Health Protection Mission (ABNHPM) has been rolled out, promising quality care to 40% of poorer Indians, focus must shift to its effective and sustainable implementation. However, with inadequate health infrastructure, can Ayushman Bharat really work? Is a big question mark. Ladies and gentlemen, we need more qualified doctors. Leave aside specialists to serve at public hospitals. Going by the government rules, there is just one doctor for every 11,082 people, according to the Medical Council of India and Directorate General of Health Services. We spend about 1.30% of our GDP on health, which is below what low-income countries spend on healthcare. Healthcare has become one of India's largest sectors, both in terms of revenue and employment. The healthcare sector in India is predicted to have a compound annual growth rate of 22.9% by 2020 and is valued at $280 billion. Against the above backgrounder, pharma leaders, nation's pioneer media in healthcare communications with close to 2 decades of understanding the healthcare landscape in India, is organizing the most awaited and iconic 11th Annual Pharma Leaders Summit and Awards 2018 under the theme Brand India, Patient Care through Healthcare Innovations. Let's take a brief overview of the present scenario. According to World Health Statistics, India has 0.9 beds per 1,000 population, far below the global average of 2.9 beds. China, for comparison, has 3 beds per 1,000 and Sri Lanka 3.1 beds. It is estimated that over 600 million people living in rural areas have no access to health care. This is primarily due to the unwillingness of doctors from cities to practice in rural areas. Even in non-rural areas, there is only one government doctor for every 10,189 people, one government hospital bed for every 2,046 people, and one state-run hospital for every 90,343 people. There have been many cases where ward boys and compounders have doubled up for doctors in performing surgeries. Pharma leaders doubts that given these goals, the budget of 12 billion rupees per year for this flagship program seems to be meager. It is not clear how the government proposes covering the total healthcare costs, which according to some estimates would be around 110 billion rupees. Perhaps The government is banking on public-private partnerships to make this program a success. Indeed, it's hard to imagine India successfully setting up 150,000 new health centers without strong public-private partnerships. India's public health system is already overburdened and plagued by a shortage of facilities and doctors. Most of the government hospitals cater to tens and thousands of poor patients, and because of lack of proper facilities, these hospitals often either turn away patients or force them to sleep on the floor of the hospital due to lack of beds. It is for this reason that over 55% of households prefer private hospitals for primary care, leading to a huge financial burden on the families. Ladies and gentlemen, Pharma Leaders is of the opinion that there is no clarity whether private hospitals will abandon their commercial business model to please the government and support its new healthcare plan. Many private hospitals have already raised concerns over the defined package rates envisaged for surgical procedures, as they are far below the market rates. The scheme will provide coverage of up to 5 lakh rupees per family for secondary and tertiary care. This cost will be shared according to a 60-40 formula between the central government and states. The government also plans to collect 110 billion rupees through a 1% cess. If despite these challenges, the government succeeds in effectively implementing its scheme, the Health Protection Mission will be a game changer in Indian healthcare. Healthcare is a fundamental right, but it is not fundamentally right in India. Speaking on the healthcare, Satya Brahma, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief of Pharma Leaders, opines that Supreme Court has held healthcare to be a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution. However, historical public spending of just over 1% of GDP on healthcare has ensured that the country's healthcare need has remained undeserved and left for the private sector to service. The fundamental aspect of healthcare, primary healthcare, is in shambles. There is only one primary healthcare center, often manned by one doctor, for more than 51,000 people in the country. The World Bank estimates that 90% of all health needs can be met at the primary healthcare level. India has grossly underinvested in the area that should matter the most. The doctor-patient ratio in India is less than the WHO prescribed limit of 1:1,000. There is a dearth of medical schools and clinicians. Most hospitals in India are overburdened, understaffed and ill-equipped. Backed by strong research, Pharma Leaders finds out that more Indians die due to poor quality of healthcare rather than due to access to healthcare. It estimates that more than 2.4 million people died in India in 2016 due to conditions that could have been treated by healthcare, the highest number of amenable deaths among the countries studied. Of this, nearly 1.6 million people, 66%, died of poor quality of the healthcare services received, while 8,38,000 people died due to non-utilization of healthcare services. Pharma Leaders, India's first opinion-based and research-driven new age digital media powerhouse, and has a decade of memorable and glorious years of its relentless reporting in pharma and healthcare journalism in an unbiased, fearless and independent way. We stand committed to empower you, passionate about creating a holistic approach and showing the right path to the policy makers.